Alright, so, this was a fanfiction idea that was voted on over on a poll on Patreon, and as always, if you'd like to be part of those polls on Patreon, as well as check out reviews for future shows, Star Wars The Acolyte will be getting episode reviews from me over on Patreon exclusively, so if you want to check out my weekly thoughts on Star Wars The Acolyte, please hit the link below, head on over to my Patreon, and, hit the first tier. That'll allow you access to the episode reviews, like X-Men 97 and Has Been Hotel, and like I said, The Acolyte, as well as all the polls that I put on there as well. Other than that, hope you all enjoy this. Let's get started. So this was part of a versus poll I did a few weeks ago, and I've been meaning to get around to this video, and that is, ladies and gentlemen, Ed, Edd, and Eddy versus the Three Stooges. Because really, like, when you think about it, Ed, Edd, and Eddy is really just the animated version of the Three Stooges. Am I right? Right? Like, it's basically, that's what it is that it is, Ed, Edd, and Eddy is the animated version, and yes, there was an animated Three Stooges. I can't, before you go type it in the comments, yes, I'm aware, there was a animated series for the Three Stooges, but I'm talking about, like, I'm basically talking about, it's kind of in that vein, like, it's its own thing. So, yeah. And also, I've never really talked about this, but I am a huge fan of the Three Stooges. Like, I've always loved the Three Stooges. It was one of my... when I was a kid, when I was, like, really young, I would watch all these Three Stooges shorts and laugh hysterically. In fact, a lot of my YouTube is just me binge-watching the Three Stooges episodes they have on Three Stooges Plus here on YouTube. So, yeah, I just am like, yeah, let's enjoy some Stooge. So I thought, so this one won by a country mile, and yeah. So here we go, Ed, Edd, and Eddy versus the Three Stooges. So the story begins in Peach Creek, and the Eds are in the middle of a new scam. Their new scam is a hat shop. Is like this whole hat shop Double D has created, and Eddy's trying to showcase like these new caps, bowler hats, top hats, all of that. He's even he took some advice from Double D and even had it like it's a derby shop too, where it's like you can get your hat cleaned and whatnot. It's just Ed's Hat Mart, and he's trying to attract all the customers. However, the kids aren't showing up. Like the other kids in the cul-de-sac aren't showing up, and Ed's reaction is, "What gives? We put all this effort into this, and no one's coming to see this. What the hell? Like we did a lot for this. What gives? Like why aren't people coming?" So they then see Johnny just kind of going down the street, and they see him with Plank, and he's got a new hat, and Eddy, of course, is like, "Hey, you gotta pay for that hat, kid. You gotta pay for that cat, Johnny, for that hat, Johnny 2x4." And he's like, "I didn't buy it from you, Eddy. I bought it from these other three guys up the street." And he's like, "Oh, someone trying to encroach on my territory, huh? Come on, guys, let's go." So the Eds head up the street. They head outside of the cul-de-sac, and they actually arrive outside of the cul-de-sac and discover there's a new hat shop opened up, and it's being run by the Stooges. So, as you can imagine, Eddy's just furious, just absolutely up a wall, angry over this whole mess. And he's just like, "I don't know who this is, but I'm gonna make sure they regret it." And Double D's like, "Off on another horrible adventure we are, Ed. 5 + 5 = 9, Double D." So they go in, they go out, they go into the world, not into the little hat shop, I mean, and they're looking around and seeing all the stuff, and they're all confused, and they ring a door, or they ring a little bell, and of course Ed's like, and then they hear three voices go, "Hello, hello, hello, hi," and the Stooges introduce themselves as the Stooge brothers, and they basically the Stooge brothers hat shop. We've recently moved into the neighborhood, and we're here to sell hats of all sorts. I'm Mo. These are my assistants, Larry, Curly, and Mo. Curly and Larry. Ugh, tongue-tied. I'm tired. So yeah, and Eddie's like, I don't care who you call yourselves. Stop stealing. You stole our bit. You stole our idea. And he's like, what do you mean, your idea? Buzz off, kid. I got no time for you. He's like, listen, you reject from the 1930s. My friends and I were the ones who came up with that hat shop idea, and you're stealing customers. Money that should be going to me so I can spend it on jawbreakers and get respect around here. He's like, well, listen here, kid. I don't know what you're talking about, but my friends and I are the ones who made this hat shop first. If you don't like it, scram. And of course Eddie is like, you're gonna regret this. You are absolutely gonna regret this. Come on, boys. Eddie, don't start things with them. Starting things with Kevin is one thing, but full-grown adults, that's a horrible idea. And then he hears Larry. Then Double D hears Larry go say, "Hey Mo, what do you think that kid wearing the cap on his head has got on his head? Has he got like a tumor or something?" To the war room. And Double D responds with, "To the war room, gentlemen. We attack at dawn." and Ed's just like, I'm having fun. So they go back to Double D's place, and they're trying to like figure out and come up with ideas. They're trying to figure out what to do, and like this hat shop thing. They're just like, Double D's like, I have an idea, gentlemen. Most hats are made of fabric, right? Sure, whatever, Double D. Whatever. You're the one with the brains. And they're like, what eats fabric, gentlemen? Zombies. No, Ed, not zombies. Moths. So literally what they do is they sneak in through the vents and open up a jar of moths that Double D has collected and let them loose in the hat shop. Of course, the three Stooges are just like, hey, get these moths out of here! And then shenanigans ensue, and things are getting eaten. And Curly's like, whoa, these moths are kind of cute. You know what else is cute? Lame brain. That's cute. How many moths does it take to eat a whole shop? I don't know. How many fists does it take to knock some sense into you? So the Stooges are like trying to frantically get rid of the moths, but through a bunch of circumstances, because this is the Three Stooges, it basically leads to the fire alarm going off and the sprinklers going off. The hat store is ruined, and they're like, "How did this happen? How did these freaking moths get into our place?" And that's when they hear up in the rafters the Eds laughing hysterically, and they're like, "Oh, wise guys, huh? Come on, boys, it's time to go to war." So the Eds go back to their hat shop, and they're like, well, now that we've taken care of business, we can go back to the what happened? And their little poultry hat shop has been torched. It's basically been torched by a lit match that was flung to the side. So of course they already know what's going on. And what ensues next is the Eds and the Stooges going back and forth in like a prank war that ranges between, hurling garbage at one store, or the Eds trying to make a new scam and the Stooges copying it, and it just kind of escalates back and forth, and it just keeps going on and on and on, right up until. And Mo and Eddie are egging everyone else on, and it gets to the point where like Larry and Curly are like, "Hey Mo, this ain't fun no more. Why we gotta fight kids? We gotta make money. We haven't eaten in like 2 days. I'm all flesh and bone here. You're more like fat and bone here, scrawny." And the Eds are just like, "Eddie, let it go. It was fun at first, but now I see the error of my ways. Shut it, sockhead. That bowl cut bastard's gonna learn what it means to mess with me." So it gets so bad that like it just becomes like it's drawing everyone in the cul-de-sac into just this massive prank war, and eventually it just leads, like, through circumstances, because again, this is Ed, and Eddy, and the Three Stooges, it basically leads to half the cul-de-sac being ruined, and everyone in the cul-de-sac's like, get all 6 of them! And that's when the kids are coming at them in an angry mob, as well as everyone else in Preach Creek. They're like, Eddy and Mo are just like, truce, truce. And all 6 of them start running down the street screaming bloody murder as they're being chased by an angry mob. And that's the story. So there you go, guys. That is Ed, and Eddy versus the Three Stooges. You guys tell me in the comments below what you guys think of it. And once again, I'd like to thank everyone who voted on this over on Patreon on the little poll. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.